Welcome back, boys. Today we have one from Franck Zanu again. Blacks have self-made problems. That's a crazy title. This video is 1 hour long. I don't know. I could have like maybe made some clips or something, watched like a snippet, but screw it. Should we just watch the whole thing? I know Frank is this one is probably gonna be a banger. Let's check it out. Screw it. Whole thing.
Hello and welcome to ZPR Zanu Project Rethink. My name is Franck Zanu and I'm in the studio today with a wonderful gentleman here in Connecticut. I've known this gentleman for quite some time, going about 15 years. But you know, with social media, my feed jumped on his feed and boy, we are at war. Iyaba Igbo Mandingo, it's a revolutionist when it comes to art. He's a painter, well known in the state of Connecticut, let me say the entire country. I have followed him all the way to Manhattan when that was John Jay Center, right?
Yes, wow.
That's correct. I came with your sister from Antigua.
Yes.
Dr. Fleming that night.
Wow.
You think I don't remember?
Wow. It's just, wow.
I got a memory, man.
Wow.
We met on a train about 15 years ago, and then he gave me a little book of poem he wrote, and I got hooked, and since then, Mandingo is here. Mandingo said, he sent me a note in the comment section. He said, listen, I like your show, but you are saying a lot of things and I think you need a little pushback because you are not nailing some of the facts. So I said, well, brother, then let's get together and let the public hear us.
Yes, yes.
Because I know you've been around, I know you care. Mandingo has a passion for youth, black youth, and he does anything. He's a mentor. And he's now looking for a black box, a place he can use acting, to get the anger out of our young ones. So, ZPR, Project Rethink, all we do here is question the answers. Welcome, bro.
Welcome, my brother.
Yeah.
Good to see your face.
Yes.
Man.
So, you said that there are certain things you heard on my show that you thought I needed a little pushback. What you meant was that you want to give me some perspectives that I missed. So.
Yes. Well, you know, one of the main things, I'm a Rastafarian, we talk balance, good and evil, just balance. Balance is, I'm always conscious of, well, nobody writes anymore, huh?
Right.
And being a historian, I know that in 100 years, this is what our great-grandchildren will use as research when they have to write papers on things. They're not going to be books. They're going also to have access to our social media pages. So I'm always conscious of the fact that in maybe 50, 100 years, a child will come upon this, and I would just like them to have some balance. So like, for example, I think the first thing I reacted to was the gentleman in South Africa you spoke about, that had the ability, which is the key word I think for me, to go off on his own and create something as a Calvinist and create a little enclave for himself. And it would have been great if there was such a thing, such a story, as a black man who was able to do that during apartheid, which there is no story like that.
Right.
And even today, there's not any story. So that is the part that I wanted to flesh out. The fact that this white man, because he is a white man in South Africa, had the ability to do this. I would love to live off grid in that same kind of way. But he also, not only did he have the ability to do it, he had the ability to get the financial things he needed to set up electricity and water and all these things to have a functioning community where he could be autonomic and not have to involve anybody and get any help from anybody. Not only Julius, but many South Africans. You know, I spent a couple months there and I have some wonderful friends there. They would love the ability to do that. And the country is big enough, so they would love the ability to also create, because I don't think empires work. What do you mean when you said they would love to have the ability to do that? The South Africans, the black South Africans. The black South Africans.
What do you mean when you say they would love to have the ability?
They would have loved it during apartheid, but even now, when South Africa, even though apartheid is gone, is still very much economic imbalance is ridiculous. They would love to be able to set up their own schools, their own hospitals.
But why are they not doing it?
Well, they don't have the economic ability to do it. That is the main part that I'm talking about.
What is preventing them?
The wealth has still not been dispersed. It still hasn't been balanced out. There's still, when you go to South Africa, the white South Africans still control the money. They still control, just like in my country. In Antigua, my little island, 108 square miles, white people run Antigua. And they did since I was a boy. And I knew that because I saw the place that they control. So the ability to do that, and the ability to be a white man and go to another white man and say, can you help me do this? Get that help, because he has the power and he happens to be the president of France.
I see. So, where you have the problem is that when we talk about the Orania project, which is what is in South Africa, that I was supposed to talk about because Mr. Vost is a white man, therefore he had the ability and access to money.
Yes.
That's why he was able to do it.
Yes.
And you're saying the reason the blacks can't do it is because they don't have access to money.
Not the same kind of access he does.
That's correct.
Right.
All right. 84.7% of the population of South Africa is black. That's majority. It's only now going 6.8 or 7% is white. I have never seen a place where the majority depends on the minority for progress to happen. Never.
Here, America.
What do you mean?
Well, the majority of the people here are not rich, and they depend on the other. See, for me, it's not just black and white. The lines aren't just black and white. The lines are, the lines, I believe, the lines have always been class.
Yes.
Always. Always. Race,
yes.
Color is one of the excuses for that.
Okay.
But it's always been class. And when you grow up like you did and I did in a black country,
yes.
My grandmother's house was 2 doors away from the prime minister.
Right.
We were their friends because my grandmother sewed for his wife, not because they were in the same class.
Right.
She allowed my grandmother to sit next to her in church because my grandmother made her clothes, not because they were friends.
Right.
You understand
what I'm saying? The history of South Africa is different from that of the United States of America. The whites there are settlers before they were both colonized along with the blacks. And if a minority of foreign settlers that have nothing in common with you just took a land and settled way before it became South Africa. So when they arrived, there was no South Africa. 84.7 of 12 different tribes of different talents and abilities. If you say the economy is not being dispersed, to be dispersed from who to who? And why should the whites disperse the economy?
No, I don't think that is. See, that's looking at it from the finish. The beginning of it is where the answer is.
Sure. Yeah. Why would the settler who has come from his house with a handbag?
How did he get the ability, access to that type of wealth? Is it because when he got there, he got on a horse and marked the land, and then rode the horse till he was tired, and then marked that land, and that became his land? That is now his great-grandson's land. Is that why? I think that if you can't find the equivalent where there's a black South African whose great-grandfather left him that same land, then right away you begin to see the imbalance, not at the finish of it, but at the beginning of it, how the thing started. You have access to not only to wealth, but to an infrastructure that was designed for you.
By who?
By your ancestors, by the settlers.
Well, that is what I'm saying. So what I'm asking you is the 84.7% of the population who have lived on that land for thousands of years before this foreigner showed up only 450 to 500 years ago. How come they did not build that wealth?
Because that wasn't their structure.
What was their structure?
Their structure was Ubuntu. I am because we are.
Okay then.
So what if they went back? What if they went back? Could the white settlers survive in that system? No, they destroyed it.
No. If they had a system, Ubuntu, as you're saying, why didn't they, the 49 to 50 million blacks, just cut off and then use Ubuntu to prove that they can also develop on their own? What happened to Ubuntu?
They weren't left alone.
What happened?
Apartheid happened.
No. Let me explain apartheid to those who may not know the real background of apartheid.
Here we go. I don't know, like there's so much info about this. South Africa, There's so much I do not know, but yeah, it sounds like, for me, it sounds like this guy in the pink shirt here is making some kind of weird argument here that I don't know. I think that if you have capability, like, you should work. If you can't do something, don't take away from somebody else. Improve, get better, or just admit. Isn't it like they were killing some farmers or something in South Africa, and now they're in like a tough spot? They killed all the people who knew how to farm, and now they have some issues. That's at least what I heard, but I don't know.
The word is an English word or Dutch word that just became Afrikaan. Simply saying, well, this is the majority. We would like to keep our culture and leave our little area. In fact, the whites were putting more pressure on themselves to say, we can exist in this little corner here by ourselves. We don't want intermingle of race, religion. That's it. Do you know that apartheid, in terms of living separate, has always been there? It became a problem because somebody thought it was a good idea to ask the parliament to put it into law. That was what ignited the fight against it. But the structure itself was there for over hundreds of years. So my question to you is this. If the whites were apartheid, which is, look, we will live in our small corner. They are confident enough to say, even though we are a minority, we can survive. Why didn't the majority say, okay, go on with your apartheid, we'll go with our Ubuntu, and then build a black South Africa on their own community? Apartheid didn't say you can exist, no.
So apartheid didn't stop that?
No.
Apartheid supported that?
It's supposed actually enabling you to go on and be Ubuntu. Leave us alone.
So the South Africa, even before it was made legislative law, you're saying that the white people in South Africa supported black people going off on their own and doing their own thing?
When you say supported, they didn't have to support or not support. No, you were existing before we arrived. Apartheid doesn't mean that white people were telling blacks, you're not going to live on this land. No, absolutely not. It simply means the place we took, we would just keep it and live there, just like Greenwich.
And if you stay there, and if you're a black person and your family is from that area that we took, then you have to live under our laws now.
No, there was nothing like that. They could build a ship stop, rest stop, where the initial plan was to have a place where ships going out to Asia could stop and refuel and do all that. So you must understand that they pick a place that was barren.
Coastal. That's why
just the same way Orania is doing today. They took a bare land. They bought a bare land from the government. The same thing, they saw a bare land because there was no country. There was no country. So that is what people seem to forget. You must understand, the Zulus were the most populated, most powerful, and they were waging war on all the small tribes in the area. That was what the game was. Before these people came, found a place and said,
same thing with the Caribbean.
Right.
This is what they do.
So how can somebody continue to insist that 84.7% of a population should rather rely on just a 6% that arrive, they don't even know the terrain?
My position is not anything about rely. My position is, when do you add the mindset of the settlers who run South Africa for so many years and the conscious efforts they made to hold black folks down?
Explain how they held them down.
With apartheid, brethren.
No.
Once it became law, let's talk about a place that I've been for 45 years. America had apartheid. It was called Jim Crow.
Okay.
You can literally take one thing and put them on top of it. It's the same exact thing.
Okay.
So the mentality, the mindset, what D.W. Griffith injected with the birth of a nation that the president showed in the White House and called it the blazing fire, where we see the Ku Klux Klan invented for the first time as a weapon. None of that had a role in where black folks are in this country now?
We are talking about South Africa.
No, we're talking about...
I'll come back here and explain this place. We're talking about South Africa, and I think it's an important topic. It might ignite in the minds of other Africans and even African Americans here and in the UK to understand that there is something deeper than what we are talking about.
And what would
I want to state it categorically. White presence in South Africa contributed nothing to the economic status of blacks in South Africa. Nothing. Because I would ask you then, show me outside South Africa, the remaining 53 countries where there is no apartheid, which one has developed to what it wants to be? If apartheid caused black South Africans to have a low economic status, then I need someone to show me the remaining 53 countries in the continent which has no apartheid.
So what did those countries have? Nothing.
You went to Nigeria.
They didn't have anything.
No.
It was called colonialism and then imperialism.
Exactly. So hold on there. I'll share something with you. I'll share something with you. So, neo-colonial.
Bro, Zanu is cooking, bro. Slowly but surely. It's yeah, it's crazy, really. How I mean, from what I see so far, I guess the whites, they gained money, whatever, power, or wealth, and the blacks saw that and they're like jealous, almost. I guess they're jealous. I don't have what you have. It's because you're white. No, it's probably because instead of crying, they started farming or building something, inventing something. I don't know. But that's all I hear nowadays. Like nobody just works and tries to, I don't know. They need to farm. They need to do a lot of things instead of fight. And of course, there's this massive, we learned about it before. There's a massive like divide between people, different tribes, different languages. People can't unite because in some countries they speak 50 different languages or something, 40 different languages. Then it makes sense how they can't build a bridge together. They can't build a well because they can't communicate. They can't cooperate. It makes complete sense. Europe and whites, I mean, oh my God. It was an endless stream of war. It was endless, bro. Europe went through war, left and right. Everybody was at war. So much war that in the end, things settled and finally people could start to build and unite. You know, like Germany was split up into how many different things, and yeah, there was so much war, but from what I hear, Africa didn't go through that. It hasn't gone through that, so it didn't go through the same development as Europe because they didn't have war. And yeah.
Colonialism is a new term used in Africa. Everyone is using it. All the other countries that were colonized, none, Asia, Middle East, Eastern Europe, colonized. None today uses the word colonialism ever did anything to us. See, we are not able to explain what caused a whole race, 54 in a continent, that they all have a uniform problem as it is. If you cannot explain it, you got to find something to use to say it might be this or that.
I don't know is it might if Haiti just finished paying their debt back to France for their freedom? Is that might or is that fact? Is it might that Macron is still sounding like he's just coming to terms with the fact that maybe they want to rule themselves in Burkina Faso? Is that, I don't understand, that's the part
I am trying to say, it is impossible. It is impossible. Blacks in the Caribbean, they have their own reason, Babylonian system, they will say. Blacks in Africa, blacks in the UK, blacks in America, blacks in Asia. Why only this race would say that somebody is always responsible for the way we are.
No, not somebody. I don't think.
Then where?
I don't think they're saying somebody. I think they're saying very specifically.
All right, then.
Very specifically, they're saying a system that
Yes.
that my grandfather was born into is responsible for my position.
So let me ask you then. If you have a 3-year-old, as a mother, a father, parents, pediatricians have shown you what a 3-year-old should be able to do. The motor systems, visual systems, audio systems, how it should function, the ability to speak and balance and go to. Okay. If you see your child is not doing it because you can see another child doing it, you can say something is wrong with my child. So show me a place where blacks live on earth where we are saying that is a status blacks want to become. Where is that place? Because if we don't have any, then we can't say anything is wrong with anybody. Where is that black place, country, community, neighborhood in the world?
You know what I would ask?
Where we are seeing it and saying that is a status. What I'm asking is, what is the role model black country we are having in our head?
I don't. Who is deciding what this status is? Where is it based on?
Then it's not based on anything, and nobody is deciding. Then how do we know something is wrong with black people? Why don't we just simply say we are the way we are because that is what we are?
Because I don't think that's true.
Then you have to show me a place where it has not happened.
Where what has not happened? Where
Blacks live and the status we are thinking we want to, because you have to have a blueprint. If you're not looking at any black role model country or community, then how do you know where you're going? It cannot be so uniform, is what I'm trying to say. So, for over 40 years, South Africa, black South Africans wasted their time chasing apartheid because they believe apartheid was the reason they, the blacks, were the way they were.
Ooh.
Apartheid, 32 years ago, Yaba, ended. Yes, I'll
no
come
more.
to that. I'll come to that.
So the mindset of it, when the political system ended, the mindset of racism that comes with apartheid ended too?
I wouldn't know. You said mindset. It's something I can see with my eyes. I was in South Africa 2022. I'll come to that story.
So there are no racists in South Africa anymore?
I'll come to that.
Okay.
All right. When it ended 32 years ago, it's a complete 100% black parliament. Okay? They even allow them to decide how to employ people, hire people, and they started with their quota.
They allowed.
Yeah, the parliament.
Allowed is like what the parent does.
No, the parliament decided that is what they would do. Okay. So when there is a position, they will pick a black person 3 times out of 5 before a white person. Okay, for 32 years. We all know the story right now. The economy, infrastructure, everything is going down. Crime is climbing high. Do you know who South Africans are saying is the reason for...
Wait, it was like that, right? South Africa has been in decline. It used to have like power and infrastructure, or was it somewhere else? Like things were functioning and things just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. That's what I heard. I think maybe later I'm going to check out the kind of history of South Africa, because I think it's interesting. It's one of these things where it's kind of like just random. It's like either I learn about China or Asia or Africa. I do find it interesting, different parts of the world. I live now in Europe, but I want to learn more about the world. And I think this is very interesting to kind of learn about black like history, black people. I love my black people, but sometimes you got to give them the harsh truth. I got called, or I wasn't called a racist, but they said, like, that's racist, something like that on my previous video. When, you know, I just kind of spoke whatever came to mind. There was no emotion behind it. You think I'm racist? Go to Africa. That is one of the most racist places. That's what I heard. You look slightly different from another tribe. I mean, they're gonna try to kill you or something. I don't know, but it sounds dangerous. But yeah, no, it's actually sad. But yeah, I think this is very interesting.
Their economic status right now?
Probably the same people that...
No, they're not using that.
Who are they saying?
Non-black South Africans, Nigerians, Malians, Kenyans who are living there. They are chasing them on the streets as we speak, killing. So now they found a new word. It's called xenophobia. They are saying foreigners, not white anymore.
They found a new word that's an old word.
They found a new perpetrator. It's foreigners. When I was living in Kenya in 2016,
I know the Nazi,
5 Ghanaians
the Nazi party did it too in Germany.
were killed in the streets by South Africans.
The Nazi party did exactly the same thing in Germany. You always find a scapegoat. You always find a scapegoat.
Okay, so
always.
you see now.
Yeah, always. You always find a scapegoat.
If the foreigners,
King George says George Washington was the scapegoat for King George.
if the foreigners, the black foreigners from the other countries of Africa, if they leave, oh, they will find another scapegoat.
Of course they will, because because we're humans before we're Africans.
So shouldn't that?
So that's a human behavior.
Okay, now let's come to this. This is the most important one I would like you to answer for me. Before South Africa was built and raised almost to the same standard of an European country, you will never catch a black South African in Nigeria or Ghana cleaning streets. Never. Not even in Europe.
And they speak wonderful English.
That's correct. So
Beautiful.
that
They
was
almost sound like Englishmen when they speak
That
English.
was the standard the
Yes.
country was raised up to, right? Let
A
me
standard. Listen to the words you're using, bro.
Yes.
So speaking proper English is a high standard.
No. I'm talking about the economic structure of the country, infrastructure, schools, better than any other country in West Africa, including those that.
He's talking about like culture and respect, kind of honor. You know, I love my country. I'll clean the streets. No garbage allowed. And we watched the previous episode where he talked about people just throw in Africa, I think it was in one of those countries, I can't remember which one, but they just throw garbage on the street, and like they let the animals eat it. You know, it's not my problem, it's just garbage, let nature do its thing. They have this attitude, and then they're angry, there's garbage everywhere and trash everywhere. You know, he made a good argument there. So yeah, it's wild.
Have oil. Okay, let me ask.
Was that because white people they had white people around them longer to practice with?
So let me ask you. Before the whites arrived in South Africa, what infrastructures has gone away? What development has gone away? Meaning, what was there that the blacks are saying has been taken away from them? Please.
I don't know if the blacks are saying anything other than their own structures.
Which is what?
Whatever they were practicing before they showed up.
They.
Whatever. So
there was no they.
So the tribes were not practicing something intra-tribal. They were not practicing. They didn't have their own things inside of their own groups. Yes,
let me come.
That is what I'm talking about.
No, but what I'm saying, there were 12 major tribes in that region, right. Not a country.
At all.
Okay, so my question.
Remember how I started? I said I don't believe in empires.
All right.
Okay.
Let me.
That's what a country is. A country is a collection of people. This country there's a reason. Wait. There's a reason they don't call it America.
Okay.
There's a reason they call it the United States of America. You know why that reason is? Because they're not united.
Okay.
United is their hope.
Okay.
When you go back to the original 13 colonies, none of them liked one another.
Yes.
That is very, very normal with human beings.
Okay.
The Caribs and the Arawaks, the Zimbabweans and the South Africans. That whole tribal, whatever you want to call it, conflict, that we are over here and you are over there, I believe that is how people exist. So what was there before were these little groups that we call tribes or whatever they are.
Yes.
And that is what they should go back to. Because this idea of a united anything is nonsense. That's why we can't go and find Alexander's Rome anymore. Because it was Alexander's wild idea.
Hold on. The pushback you wanted was that we did not inform people properly about South Africa. I'm asking, traditions, customs.
Right.
Zulus, Xhosas, they are still practicing it. Their language is still there. Their form of dressing. In fact, the Zulus still have their kings in the KZNs, the KwaZulu-Natals. They still have it. Nobody told any African not to be an African. In fact, apartheid meant continue with your Africanness, whatever you practice, and we would practice ours. So I'm asking you, I gave you the opportunity. No, hold on.
Okay.
I gave you the opportunity. All I'm asking, what Mandela and his people were asking for was not give us culture, was not give us tradition. They were asking for economic equality. So I'm asking you, what was there before the white man arrived that was taken away? Please, let's stay on.
I'm right on with you.
Damn. Okay. So how was it? They were there. apartheid was there, and the whites kind of kept to themselves, and they were like, no, we don't need that like black culture stuff. Like we gonna make farms and stuff. We gonna make money. What was it like that? I don't really know. I don't know, but it sounds very interesting.
I'm staying on the propaganda of the ANC that was asking for the anti-apartheid movement. They didn't ask for what you're saying. Give us our culture, give us our traditions. No, they didn't say that. They said we wanted simply economic. I'm asking, what was there?
What did Mangalisa ask for? Did he ask for that too? Who? Mangalisa, who was pre-Mandela.
Yes, all of them.
He was asking for the same things?
The same thing. Nobody. I don't know. Unless I'm wrong, anybody can correct me.
So there were no South Africans who wanted the white people to move.
Move to where?
Away. Leave me alone. That wasn't a declaration
before it became a country, or
yes, before it became a country. After it became a country.
So who would that be?
No, there was no. So what is Julius? What is Julius asking for?
Malema?
Yeah.
Appropriation of land without compensation.
Okay.
The same thing Zimbabwe did and went down the basket completely, because he is also thinking that if we can take these farms, these commercial farms from them, our people will be rich. Idi Amin made the same mistake.
I don't know.
But I am asking.
I don't know if that. I think that's used. I think you're saying that.
Oh, okay.
I don't. I think that's wrong. I think no. I don't think it's a wrong and right thing. I think you are hearing what the brother is saying,
yes,
and you are taking that and you're drawing your own inferences.
Oh.
What I hear when I hear him saying that is,
it's EFF, economic freedom fighters.
Yes,
not cultural freedom fighters.
No, because they see that as the thing that they're lacking the most.
So I'm asking you, I'm asking you, what economic structures were there before the white men built that country?
Theirs.
Which one? What was?
Which was
export? Trade?
No, none of it.
Currency?
See, one of the things that people do when they're talking about history is they like to take today and put it on top of yesterday. What would Nelson Mandela's great-great-grandfather have said to that if you asked him that question? He would have been clueless, because you're talking about concepts he has no idea about. Now, if you asked him if he would trade with the man inland yams for the fish he's catching at the ocean, he would say, of course they will do that.
And why did he stop?
Why did he stop? Because he had to have a passbook to go from one place to the other.
But I'm saying to you, 84.7% land belongs to black people. No one ever told any black person you cannot continue to live. The Xhosas, the vendors, Zulus. They didn't have to tell them that. Listen, the Zulu king that was just elected, that is 50 years he was on the throne for the KwaZulu-Natals. Nobody touches them. What I'm just simply saying is this: just like anywhere in the United States of America, blacks will not complain if they didn't think that, oh, whites are more richer than us. It's always somebody is richer than me. So I am saying to you, and you need to just have this conversation. See, when these white people, the minority of minorities, build that country to a European standard, meaning that things we don't even have in countries in West Africa, they had it all in South Africa. That's why I said you would not find a black South African laboring in other countries because of the, because they picked up habits, they don't act like South Africans anymore. They rather have the idea of what is the average black American, because that they don't have what has been put into them. That's correct.
Generation.
Very good.
What has been put into them?
I will answer that question for you. You see the trash can? The trash can. I made a theory around it. When a trash can is full, when you throw something into it, it bounces and falls on the side, and then you see debris around it. But when the trash can is empty, anything you throw stays in it. If the black South Africans, if they had something real of value and close to themselves that they understand they can manage, they will never, as you said, allow habits to get into them. They accepted.
Frank, that is the pushback I have. How every time you talk around that part. How did they get to this place where they reject their ancestors' ways and pick up somebody else's?
That's what I mean.
Why is it that my mother still spells check, C-H-E-Q-U-E, when she has not been a British subject, not citizen, subject, which is an object. This is a subject.
Yes.
Why does my mother still
Because
feel
that
like
island was colonized.
By who?
By the English.
Okay.
And she was forced to speak the English
Okay.
language.
So
Fine.
is that not the same condition? Was that not the same condition in South Africa?
Yes.
Were they not colonized
Yes.
and forced to put down
Yes,
their
yes,
ways and
I
pick up
understand.
something? So that is what I think. That is when I talk about what should be brought up, that is very important to bring up, because now you have me thinking, I'm talking about a South Africa.
If people develop economically, like they get more money doing a certain thing, a lot of people will do it. And there's a reason why in the West here, in the Western world, people are abandoning religion, because what happened was the economic boom that happened after the world wars. People became secular. They gained so much material wealth that they abandoned their religions, traditions, their God. They abandoned God, and now things are going to hell. Things are people are becoming weird and mentally ill. So it makes sense to me, of what I know, why blacks would abandon some of their culture, some of their traditions for economic wealth. It makes sense because it happened here in the West as well. People abandon God. People abandon family traditions, everything, for economic wealth. They didn't do it consciously. It just happened naturally. People stopped slowly but surely going to church. People stopped practicing certain things because they were comfortable at home with their TV, with their internet, with their new economic wealth, with their new material wealth. So it makes sense to me if blacks started in South Africa getting more money, getting more stuff, electricity, cars, or whatever they had. It would make sense to me that they would not practice whatever their traditions are. I don't know what they are, but it makes sense to me. Yeah.
Who is pre-white man in South Africa. That is not who we're talking about. We're talking about the black man after. We're talking about all of these things, where all of the things in this country, for example, America, we're both here. In this country, you can go to the library and see the things that George Bush Sr. grew up on. Mm-hmm. And so you get right away, because I love Dr. DeGroote. She talks about post-traumatic slavery syndrome. Mm-hmm. And she's the first. And I saw people like Naeem Akbar in college talk about it, but from a black point of view, so is missing something.
Right.
But Dr. DeGroote is brilliant to me, because she talks about, if you put me in a box, and you sit on that box for the next 40 years, making sure I stay in that box. Guess what? You are trapped as well.
Yes.
And that is what you're missing. That's what I feel you're missing when you talk about that dance.
So let me respond to that.
It is that psychological
I agree.
conditioning for years, where you have black women putting lighting on their skin and changing the way their hair looks. When you have African people African people who would rather be Caribbean, pretend to be Caribbean, or use a European name before they use the name that they were given at birth. All of those things, to just talk past those things.
I understand. You've made it clear now. You've made it clear. Let me even summarize it so that you can understand. You can see that I understand you. You are saying that I am ignoring the fact that a foreigner came into a space and he forced his culture, language upon the people. And the people gave up what they have and now adopted the foreigners' ways. That's what you're saying. And that such phenomena can affect people. Am I right?
Generationally.
Yes, I understand. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Then your point is, then why Zanu, why are you not addressing that? Well, wait.
Why are you not including it?
Yes, I understand.
So that the person hearing it can get the full thing.
But I understand.
Right.
So let me now respond to you why I wouldn't include that. Because I look at other places where a similar phenomena took place.
Where?
India.
Mm-hmm.
Korea.
Mm-hmm. Vietnam.
Wait.
Mm-hmm. Vietnam is one of the newest ones.
So I look at those places and I ask myself, and then I look at Kenya. So the British colonized Kenya. Mm-hmm. And at the same time they colonized Kenya, they were colonizing India. Mm-hmm. So they took indentured slaves from India, poured them huge into Kenya, and colonized them until Kenya gained independence in 1960. All right. When I lived in Kenya, the Indians have not taken over the British names. have not taken over the British system, have not taken over the British characteristics. They still live as Indians in Parkland, Nairobi. Let's go to India. India was colonized longer than Ghana and Nigeria and Benin, okay? 81 years. But as soon as it was over, the Indians are now going through the generational trauma because they have now adopted English names and spell check C-H-E-Q-U-E. Let's go to Korea. It was colonized for 49 years by the Japanese. They were forced to lose their language, writings, and everything. As soon as the Japanese left, I lived in Korea for 2 years. You would not see a vicissitude to tell you Japanese were ever here.
When did the English leave Africa?
So, 1960.
No, they haven't left. They never left.
Okay, hold on. I will respond to that. This is what I mean by you have to find a boogeyman to explain everything. So now, Africans who fought for independence...
What if the boogeyman is real? What if
real.
The boogeyman is real, Frank?
So why is it not real in India? Why is it not real in Korea? Why is it not real in all these countries that are made?
It's not real in Mumbai, where you can go, where, funny thing, where the Nigerian that I stayed with there told me about how he was able to go 2 times from being an alcoholic and replace his kidney because when he went there were men standing around the block. So that's good.
I am not
selling their kidneys, one of their kidneys.
I am not going to blame a foreign behavior on anyone. I've just giving you.
It's not blame. I don't think it's blame.
So
I think blame is your word.
Okay.
I think if you come upon a thing and the floor is wet, then you should say the floor is wet because you will ruin your shoes.
That's correct.
So if there's a mess there, you have to acknowledge the mess.
You asked me to explain why I did not include that, and I have just explained why. Because I have found places. And I had to compare those places and ask myself, if these places went through the same phenomena, in Uganda, you remember until 1977.
The first name I was teased when I came here with this black skin and these features was Idi Amin. I know exactly what it is because once I was being called, I went and found out who he was.
So Indian indentured slaves in Uganda and Ugandese, okay? And they colonized both of them until the British left. But when you go to India, to Uganda, the Indians still maintained their traditions, their manners, their costumes. They acted properly, they didn't bleach, they didn't take British names, they didn't keep anything. So I would look at that and I'll say, then hold on. Something is not adding up. It means, hold on, you gotta hold on. It means I cannot look at South Africa, I cannot look at Antigua, Benin and say, oh, it is because this place was colonized, that's why things went. And then let me go back to my analogy. If the balloon effect, you can sit on it all you want. As soon as you get up, the balloon goes up. Okay? If the place knew that, okay, people came here and they used force, and because you want to leave, you accepted it. When they left, just like India did, just like Korea did, just like other places did, why didn't you just wash it out? It means, Iyaba, what they gave you, you saw value in it than what you had before they came. Wait, I'm not finished. That is the analogy of the waste bin. If there is something in the waste bin, nothing can be thrown in. In fact, you can balance it, it will fall off. The reason we accepted everywhere you look, everything somebody else gave us, we took it, is because ourselves, we didn't have anything we thought was of any value. And that is a sensible human behavior.
Was that always true?
Always.
So your great grandfather in Benin never thought what he had was good before white men showed up.
Yeah, somebody says you never knew you were hungry until you saw food.
So you're saying
for you the empty stomach you have is just a way of life. Maybe this is it. Then when food came, you realize, oh, I'm hungry. So my great-great-grandfathers thought what they had was okay because nothing else was presented to him.
Nothing else was presented nothing else was presented to them, and they were...
Damn, this is very interesting. Very interesting. But you know, it's good that he says it, because if I go around talking like this, I'm going to be called racist every day, even though he's just talking. Like, that's all it is.
It was drilled into them over generations that it was better. It was better, Frank. That is the difference.
I know.
Indians didn't lose their language.
They told you it was
Indians
better.
Didn't lose their culture.
Yes,
you know why?
You said you used the word.
The British found it romantic. They found it erotic. They found it exotic. So they didn't lose. The Englishman didn't. You used the word. Man, and here's another point I want you to remember. Why do you think the Indian, the Korean, the Vietnamese. Where did they get this need to separate themselves from black people from?
Black people?
Yes.
What do you mean separate?
Separate. One of the most insulting things you can tell an Indian is he has black features or he's very dark skinned.
Okay.
What they will lose it.
Okay.
What makes the Korean woman in California now, I think is now 32 years, around them times, about 30 something years ago. What made her shoot that little 12-year-old girl in the head that came in her store? What did she see when she saw that little girl? And who told her that little girl was a monster? Where did that come from?
What is the question?
In her book as a girl?
What is the question?
The question is, where did that come from?
What?
In this country, and in most of the places I've been, some of the most racist things I've noticed or witnessed haven't been from white people. They have been from those same people you're talking about, from Indians and from Asians. Who taught them that?
Taught them what?
That hierarchy of I'm better than you, you're down there, don't come up here with me. My daughter cannot marry you. Where did that come from?
Culture.
Culture?
Yes.
So that's not them mimicking England. They didn't get that from England.
No.
They didn't get that because they were told black is the worst thing you can be. Your complexion, that complexion is the worst. So if you're a black Indian and you live in India, you more than likely you belong to the class of the undesirables.
That may be the same thing in Haiti then. There were also the Haitians who are light skinned.
Of course, that's the same thing in
Africa.
Were
told.
Same thing in the Caribbean.
They were told, right?
Well, I mean, wasn't Burundi the same people killing each other?
Okay.
Almost to the millions. Because France told them the light-skinned ones that they were better than them.
Yes, very good. I've heard that. But that is
is true though.
Yes, it's true. It's true because you said it.
No, not because I said it, because the history
yes, so wait.
Yes.
Please wait and hear me. Your points are so very good. It allows me to share with you what I have also observed. So we have, I'm currently a fan of Daniel Kahneman, who wrote Thinking Fast and Slow. Guys, you want to get that book. It changed my life completely on how I look at things.
Daniel Kahneman, say it again, because I want that book. Daniel Kahneman?
Kahneman, yes.
And it's called Thinking Fast and Slow.
No, Thinking Fast and Slow.
He's talking about this book, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. I was recommended this book like 2 years ago, but it seems like I didn't even read halfway. So it seems like I have to finish it. Man, it's been a long time since I read it though. I'm probably gonna read it from the start again, but very interesting. I guess I gotta read that book. There's so many books I gotta read.
That's the whole title, right?
Yes.
Okay,
unbelievable. I'll tell you before you leave.
Please.
You see, human beings have two ways of thinking. One is the fast way. It's intuitive. It's emotional.
Flexual. Yes. Reactive.
And quick. The other one is you want to gather all the information, so it's slow. Decisive, that's correct, okay? All right. We look at things and we make too quick using thinking one.
Agree.
By the conclusions we arrive. And when that happens, it never allows us to see the entire.
Agree.
And that is what I'm doing.
Agree.
So here is what I'm saying again. I come to you and tell you, hey man, your skin color is not good enough. Well, you know why you would accept it? I said it. If you haven't seen value in it yourself, it has not been shown in your culture. So when you keep, I almost call it an insult to say that a black person was told that his skin color was not beautiful, his name was not beautiful.
It is an insult.
Wait, no, not that kind of insult. You, the people saying that, when that happened, the black man actually obeyed. No. Well, wait, I'm not finished. You got to hear it.
Okay.
Ooh, okay, I hear what he's saying. I'm
listening.
But you intentionally chose the word drill into us.
It was
so
drilled.
Wait, look, the Japanese drilled into the Koreans, and I don't want to say the word they use here. The Japanese considered the Koreans inferior, the whole of Asia, they did. And they told them time and again when they were living there, it did not make the Koreans inferior. The Jews were told in Germany they were the inferior race. We know that. It did not make the Jew accept that he was inferior and want to change his features.
Einstein worked for the Germans before he came here.
No, I'm not going to move away to another subject. I am telling you places where people have been told that they are inferior over and again. Jews went through that. It never made them inferior. So then I'll question the conclusion you've made. Why only when it came to us we accepted?
Did the Jews go through the same conditioning that Africans did?
I am not going to compare, but maybe worse.
No, not compare. This is not compare.
Yes, they were in slavery. They were told in slavery they were inferior. They lived under a Nazi regime the way they were told they cannot even collaborate, work, be employed. Even in this country, Jews were looked down upon, Irish were looked down upon. They were told they were inferior over and again. Jews accepted it, please. Books were written in Germany informing German children that the Aryan race is the most pure and superior. I
agree.
So, then I'm asking you, if that is the case, why didn't the Jews become inferior? Because it was drilled down them through propaganda. So why only us always? We claim that somebody told us that something is wrong with us and then we accept it.
Do you think there were any Jews in Germany who passed as Germans because they didn't want to be killed? Because they look enough like a German to do it?
Well, you say pass, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll find any way to escape from prison. But as soon as I'm out, I'm going back to my Jewish. Let me ask.
You're going back to your Jewish.
Let me say something.
No, wait. You're going back to your Jewish self as soon as you get out. Did black people have that option during Jim Crow?
Bigger than anybody else, not here in this country, on the continent, here and everywhere. They had the option to have gone back. It was offered, paid for by the Black Star Line organization.
Do you talking about Marcus Garvey?
No, Kwame Nkrumah, the British company, said we will pay for it because it was the British who insisted that if they remain in America, it's not going to be a good result. But let's not move from what I'm talking about here.
No,
we have to examine.
They're very intertwined.
Yes, they are.
They're
so
very intertwined.
Let me ask
for me,
you.
I keep going back to it because
so it's the same question I'm asking. The blacks were told
what African people went through across in the entire the world.
Continent,
when it came to that time period, there's nobody else you can pick to compare to that.
Okay.
There's nobody else you can talk about.
What is that?
Who was broken down psychologically, physically, mentally, health-wise. There's no other race of people who were broken down so completely, removed so completely from their original selves, and then given freedom one day and told to go and do your thing.
Okay.
There's no other people you can compare to that. There's none. Not any Asians.
Too many.
One of them. Give me one.
Look, the whole of the Slavic region, Northern Europe, the only reason we don't see it, the whole of Africa,
they all look alike, Frank.
You got to allow me to explain so my audience can also hear something. I do.
Yeah, I do. Maybe blacks, like for me, maybe it's like similar. When I look at Africa, call me, like that's just how it is. I see all of these blacks as the same. Like for me, that's just how it is. It's like, oh, you're from Africa. Like, I don't know where you're from, but yeah, sure. Like I see all black people as like the same. I don't really see a difference because I don't see black people. I don't study or analyze black people. But I see distinct differences between different white people. And maybe that's like very weird for blacks to even see and think, but it's the same as blacks can see differences between other blacks and it's like blatantly obvious to them. For me, it's obvious as well. I'm here in Norway, but they can clearly see I am not Norwegian. I am a Slav. I'm treated as a Russian, even though I'm not Russian. I'm not born in Russia, but I am ethnically a lot Russian. So I get treated as a Russian. There's nothing I can do about it. And yeah, there was a massive thing against the Slavs. I mean, even way back, the origin of the word slave is from Slav, because we were slaves. We were so many slaves that it became the word slave. Slav became slave. So yeah, that's interesting.
I'll give you a lot of time. My mother's race, my mother's tribe, was completely taken by the Abome. All they wanted was the women. They wanted to procreate with the women so they can build the Abome kingdom bigger. So my mother's tribe, completely, they were slaves. You know what they did to the women? They used them for experiment. Do you know why today when you walk into my area, you don't know who was a slave? Because the skin color was the same. It blended. Northern Europe, the reason they are not talking and complaining is because when the slavery was over, the skin color blended. The Igbos and the Osus, when it was over, the skin color blended. The reason this thing is still active and alive in America is that it's the last one and the only place where former slaves have a different skin color. Nothing is done. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And, Mr. Yaba, if we continue scaring our children that something is holding you down, something is wrong, no wonder we are not helping our young ones, because by the time they turn 12 and get out of, we are told that there's a system that is holding you down. Why would this kid have the impetus at all to say, let me work hard and cooperate with society? Because you know what? If I fail, they will make an excuse that it is the system that made me fail, not me. We got to stop it. I have shown you too many examples around the world. The reason the American slave and the American experience is still alive is because it's the only place on earth where former slaves have a different skin color. That reminds them every day.
Yeah, I look similar enough and I speak fluently, so I blend in. I get all the vouch from the old Norwegians. I guess there are just some young ones that don't like foreigners, but it's kind of misguided hatred, really.
That's something, or somebody's doing something. The one person, the one group of people, American government would do everything to protect in this country is black people. Please ask me why. That's how the conversation is progressing. I can explain to you. America is a capitalist country, which means capitalism does well with consumers. You create a large class of consumers, those who love to use material things to show off. And boy, come November 7, Black Friday, go to the mall across this country and see the purchasing power of black people. This country will be stupid enough to want to destroy that class. No, they will feed them and keep them alive so they can buy Nike, Samsung, iPhone 16, wheels on your car, long hair, nails. Every retail in this country relies. Mayweather has 39 cars. You will not destroy that powerful consumer class. This is why I know, no, Africa have not discussed the real problem. The excuses we're making would continue to delay the solution.
And what's the real problem?
The real problem. There is a certain threshold that things get, and I will conclude that is the nature of that thing. In Africa, the whole continent, the black race, has way past that threshold.
And the threshold is?
Every country in Southeast Asia, in the Middle East, who were once colonized and held down by others, including the 14 Balkan countries held down by the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, now called Russia, they all bounced back solid after 25 years. I was in a conference in Singapore.
Yeah, Stalin, in Russia, Stalin himself, he took a country that had nothing and he dragged it into to an empire, to greatness. So very, very interesting. Of course, some of the things he did was horrendous, but the results speak for themselves. Now Russia is a nuclear empire.
I met a Korean professor. So nostalgia, I started talking about my days in Korea. He was happy. Then colonization came up. He said, do you know you have something in common with us? I said, yes. My country was colonized for about 48 years. Yours was colonized. He said, yes. He asked me, so as a result of colonization, what did you lose? And he hit me. And I said, whoa, I've never been asked that question. So I said, look, help me. What did the Koreans lose? He said, we didn't lose anything. We only lost time. So as a result of colonization, which the two of them went through the same thing, dehumanization, demeaning, and psychological operations to drill in you the superiority of the Japanese. In Africa, propaganda, psychological, to drill in you the superiority of the white. Why at the end of it, many of them in Southeast Asia just went on. He said, at the end of it, we just went back being Koreans.
And at the end of it, what did Africans go back to being? South Carolinians, Virginians, New Yorkers. That's the same thing? You're saying that's the same thing to you?
They should have done what was done in Japan.
They should have done what should have. What does should have to do with reality?
What was done in Japan?
What was done in Japan was the Koreans went back to being Koreans, right?
No, not in South Korea.
No, in North Korea they went back to being Koreans.
No. Japanese took a lot of women as comfort women to Japan.
Of course.
And they took a lot of slaves for the wars. When it was over, inside Japan, we have 1.7 million Koreans.
And they live like Koreans now.
They don't even, some of them don't speak proper anymore. But they decided to ask the government, after it was over, we don't want to integrate or even assimilate. Give us Aichi, the largest prefecture where, and they call them Zainichi, which is the second Koreans. They don't join the army, they don't vote, they don't participate in any of these things.
They're Koreans inside of Japan.
That's correct.
Unto themselves.
Yes.
And do you think that has to do with the fact that they still have remnants of themselves enough to grab hold of and rebuild from there?
What would that be?
Cultural remnants of themselves. For example, their language.
Yes.
Like, for example, their spirituality.
They cut themselves off.
Do you think that those things had anything to do with their ability to now rebuild themselves as Koreans?
So then, if you know what you lost, why didn't the African Americans?
No,
Yes,
you're not answering my question.
Yes, I'm going to answer your question. The Koreans knew that is what they lost when they were in Japan.
Right.
They didn't speak Korean, so they said, "Look, we can't mix up with those people. So poverty doesn't matter, but what it matters is let's go create an identity." Zainichi. Why didn't we do that?
From what? From what? Using what? What do we use with no remnants? What do you use to build something? You have no remnants. There are no remnants. Your idea.
But that's
you
what
go
you
to
have.
the average Black American in this country, and you ask them what does success look like?
Yes.
And it sounds exactly like a white person's.
No, what I'm saying
for me now, the word xenophobia you talked about. In 44 years. The most xenophobia I've ever experienced in this country is from Black Americans. For me. The people that teased me when I came here, no
Why?
white person ever called me a coconut like Africans call us.
Why?
No white person ever called me a banana boat guy.
Why?
Why? Why were Black Americans the one that did it? Because they saw me as different to them. Because I still had remnants of things that they don't recognize.
Okay.
I walk barefoot. My mother could still put the basket on her head and walk through the ghetto to the laundromat like she was in Antigua.
You see, I have some credibility. I was born in a traditional called Benin. I always told you, you're not from Nigeria, you're Beninois, Dahomey, okay? All right. And I lived with my grandfather and was raised in the wisdom of my culture, my traditions. And then I started traveling. So when I see blacks outside my continent, you know what I'm looking at? My people.
Yeah. And you see them.
No. What I'm trying to say.
Minus all the habits. You see them like this. Bro.
No. You're getting it wrong.
What's your native tongue? What is your native tongue?
You're taking me to a different.
What is your native tongue?
I speak Aja.
And you speak it. Do you speak it fluently still?
Yes.
You know what my native tongue is?
No.
I don't know either.
Okay, so hold on. What I'm trying to say is not to do with the language.
But the language is the culture, Frank.
But wait, I'm trying to tell you something. When I see them outside, I just see us.
Yes, you do.
You don't see what I'm trying to. You're not asking me questions.
Okay, so what is it you see? Is that what I should ask you? What
exactly what we are doing on the continent is what they are doing here without language. That's it. I said something,
Frank,
in one of my episodes. Do you know why Africans stay away from Black Americans? We see too much of us in them. My brother, I'm trying to tell you what I've heard from my own elders. Everything you're trying to say is true, but we got to go to the bottom of the matter.
And the bottom of the matter is what?
Nothing has happened to the black man. Why can't you accept that you are what you are because of what you are?
That is why I am who I am, because I believe that. But how many of us, are you saying that the majority of black people in this part of the world think the way you and I do when it comes to...
Do you think the majority of the Greeks believe the way Socrates think? It doesn't matter. After 125 years...
It matters if we're talking about reconcentrating yourself. The Greeks don't have to worry about that. They were never chopped off from their history.
You asked me if you and I, the way we think, that the majority of blacks think that way. No.
I don't care about the Greeks.
Yes,
I don't care about the Koreans.
That's why we
care about the Japanese.
That's why we have thought leaders. What we are saying today may become true 125 years from now. We will come to find out that we didn't use thinking number 2. Nothing is wrong with the black man. Absolutely nothing.
Well, I don't think they think anything is wrong with them. I don't think black people.
They think.
No, like when you said Michelle Obama is saying that, you know, she has dealt with racism, and you don't, or something.
Yeah, like we've seen enough like good, like blacks win. You know, they get a good job or they make money. They start a family. They can be good, and you know, they, as the example, they can pick up the trash. But there is this kind of culture. I see it. There is this culture of like self-oppression almost, and I don't like that. Me as an individual, I don't like thinking in negative ways about myself and my abilities. There's only things I haven't learned yet. I haven't tried yet. I haven't mastered yet. There is nothing that I'm not allowed to do, or I limit myself. I'm limitless. And I think black people need to not be arrogant about their abilities, but, you know, realistic and have this abundance growth mentality instead of this oppression. I'm black and you're white, you're better than me. I see it all the time where blacks get this like happiness trying to undermine and oppress whites now because they were oppressed. It will bring you no material wealth. It will bring you no spiritual blessing or wealth being hateful against whites or trying to. I see it a lot where, you know, in America, I don't know if it's propaganda or what, but it's white people basically bootlicking, kissing blacks' feet because of, you know, oh, I'm sorry, I'm white, here you go, black person. I don't think that does anything for you as a black to accept these kinds of things, or, you know, you're relying on other people's thoughts and opinions about your value, about what you can do. You should kind of dictate your own life and what you want to do. That's the best way to do things, and you have to have absolute accountability for your actions and your situation. Do not blame anything other than yourself. You were born. Be happy you have the life. Be happy you have the gift of life, and you have 2 hands, 2 legs, a functioning mind. You're not mentally ill. There's people that would do incredible things to have that. So if you have it, use it for good. Don't be, as he said, don't waste time. Don't waste time.
Along those lines, you said, I've heard Michelle Obama, I've heard Beyonce say these things, and I don't think it happens. How can you say that, bro?
What happened?
That they experienced those things.
What things?
I don't want to misquote what you said, but in one of your episodes, you said something about black people calling white supremacy.
Yeah.
And dealing with white supremacy, and you disavow it as if it's just a myth that they made up.
Yes.
Come on.
I told them where it came from, man.
Telling somebody where something comes from does not disavow it. If your mother went through redlining, where she couldn't live in a place because she was black.
Because exactly what we started this conversation with. They were using the first thinking to reach conclusions. Who told them what happened was racism?
What was it? It doesn't have anything to do with who told them.
The way the blacks treated you,
it has nothing to do with who told them anything. If you lived in Jackson, Mississippi in 1950, like Richard Wright did, what do you think your life was like?
Hell.
Okay, so then what do you mean? Who had to tell them? They lived it. Nobody had to tell them anything. They lived that life. You know who Richard Wright is, don't you? The black writer.
Yeah, the writer.
You ever heard it where he talks about Africa? He sounds like a white man. Wait. And did you know he never came back? He never went back to Mississippi. He never went back to Jackson. He was afraid of Jackson.
Yaba, what I do on my show is that I simply question conclusions and answers. So let me share something with you. The way African Americans treated you when you came here, they did the same to me. Was that racism?
No.
You're going too far.
No, I'm not.
Why is it not racism?
You ask me a question, let me answer. Huh?
Why is it not racism?
Because racism, the way I define it, and the way I was taught in college, racism is having the power to perpetuate your biases and your prejudices, make them legislative law. That is racism. You understand me?
Okay, so
we have every human being
I'll give you the last
biases and prejudices.
I will give you the last platform, okay? Please. Name one bias law made that prevents blacks from becoming
redlining.
Redlining is a law.
Yes.
Where is it?
Where is it?
Yeah.
Well, you don't see it as often now, but you saw it in the 50s and the 60s in this country.
Okay, where is it now?
Where is that law redlining now?
Where is redlining?
In Greenwich.
Greenwich?
In Westport.
Yeah. And that does what to what? To who? Because redlining, therefore you could not become what? So the NBA...
Because redlining, you couldn't buy a house in this neighborhood.
Oh, I see.
That's what I mean by redlining.
Okay, all right. I understand.
Right. That's what redlining was.
Montel Williams lived in Greenwich.
Yes, he did.
Okay. So all the basketball players, NFL players, all of them, redlining doesn't affect them.
Because what? Because what did I say at the beginning? I never...
No.
Answer it.
I
think racism is crap. I think it's always been about classism. So that's why they can live there. That is
what I said in the episode. But go listen to it again.
Frank, I never said anything about you and I not agreeing. You know. I said you need pushback because you say these things and you run past them without any context. That's what I'm saying. You run past something like that without any context. Is, you know how many black people understand the nuances between what racism. Most black people will tell you, and most white people will tell you racism is that. Racism, a black person in my judgment, a black person does not have any power to be racist. Because you don't have. You can be the Jay-Z.
I understand.
Jay-Z doesn't have the power to be.
I understand.
Jay-Z can be a bigot.
Yes.
Jay-Z can be a classist.
I understand.
He does not have any power as one man to do anything.
I understand. You got to allow me to interject. If what blacks did to you is not racism, but if they had worn a white skin, it would have been racism. Conclusion, right?
No, that's you say. That's your conclusion. I don't like.
Okay, so let me rephrase. Let me rephrase, please. Please, you speak too much. I give you the time to speak. I've really respected you on the platform. You just told me when you came to this country, blacks called you coconut dweller. They called me booty scratcher. But if a white kid had called me that, I would describe it as racism. But if a black kid called me that, you said that would be what word?
I didn't say racism.
Oh no, I said what word?
What word would I call it? Ignorant.
Ignorance.
Yeah.
Well, with that, you need to come back to the show and continue this conversation. So I would rather use ignorant for everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, Yaba here. Thank you very much. Hey, don't forget to subscribe, hit on the button because these conversations are
Man, this was a good episode. Let's check some comments. Let's hear what the black people have to say. I would imagine it's a lot of black people in the comments here. If a rich man doesn't share his wealth with me, that's not him holding me back. I don't argue with ignorant fools that drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. Nice saying. Bob Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. As long as any people remain shackled to the past, they will never be able to move forward into the future. Okay. It is exhausting reasoning with a person who doesn't listen. All right. Stick with the young people, Frank. A guy this old is too far gone to admit he's lived in error for so long. Oof. I was born in South Africa during Apartheid. My very own father, a white British man who came to my very own father, a white British man who came to South Africa after he lost everything to the war. He only wanted to support his family, and as a diesel mechanic worked for the man who paid him the most. He was a black man, Mr. Zanu. His family and brother were very rich and they built a big bus company. Do not tell me black man could not do that during apartheid. It is absolute nonsense. My father admired this man, Mr. Gonzamo. Worked hard, but he employed a qualified white man who knew what he was doing and had an amazing work ethic. To keep his company running, he couldn't rely on his own to keep the wheels turning. Truly, I wish those type of people would not try to be all-knowing when they know nothing. Thank you for your thoughts. Nothing like real honesty, sir. Right. The thing is, even in society nowadays, people have this like diversity quota thing. They want that, but I think that the best man for the job should get the job. That's how society continues to grow and evolve. If you have somebody less qualified get the job because of their skin color, then that's kind of like the beginning of the end of society, because then the people who would innovate and create new shit, they don't get the job, they don't get the position. So then it's cooked. Then it's bad. This is the perfect example that you can't argue with idiots. He says, these comments, bro. I would imagine these are all blacks. Here we go, he's a black. You cannot help a person that is in love with being a victim. Oof. Well said from Zawil Alpon. There we go. Well, anyway, boys, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I catch you boys on the next one. Please like and subscribe and let me know what you think.